Hello everyone, my name is Wildcrow, I'm a producer from Spain, and today I'm gonna be doing this course or masterclass about how to make progressive house. I will try to make this course for everyone, so it doesn't really matter if you're just a beginner or an advanced producer, because I'm gonna go from the most basic things like how to use the scales or how to create a melody to more advanced things like how to use this plugin or that plugin or why to do this. I also think it doesn't really matter the DAW you use. I'm using FL Studio, but if you use others like Ableton, Pro Tools and Logic, it doesn't really matter because it's more about the concepts than how to do one thing, because you're gonna be able to do the same things I do, but with other tools, the tools that your DAW has. And when I'm using, for example, an EQ, it doesn't matter if it's the FL Studio EQ or the Ableton EQ because it's the same. And when I use synthesizers, probably you're gonna use the same ones because most of them are external. I also have to say that I upload weekly tutorials on YouTube, so if you wanna learn more things about music production in general, you can go on YouTube, just type Wildcrow and you will find me. And if after this course you have some questions, you can just send me a mail or contact me on Instagram. My Instagram is Wildcrow Music and I reply to everybody. So if you just have one question, go there and I will reply to you. So I hope you learn a lot with this course. I hope to teach everything as good as possible. As I said, I'm Spanish, so I know my English is not perfect, but I'm sure you're gonna understand everything. And with all of that being said, let's start with this course and let's start making music. Okay, so we're here inside FL Studio. The first thing I'm gonna do is to put the tempo on 128. Is the more generic progressive house tempo. Some people make progressive house on 126, but the more generic is 128, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And the first thing we should do, or most people recommend, is to take out the frequency limiter. Okay, delete it, but I'm gonna leave it because this way, if I play something too loud, it's not gonna destroy your ears. So just leave it there for now. And what I'm gonna do first is, of course, making the melody, because in progressive house, in my opinion, the most important thing is making a melody, making the chords, the melodic part. And well, how to make music if you don't know anything about music theory. I've never went to music classes, but I learned what to do, and that's what I'm gonna show you. The first thing I'm gonna do is insert just a sampler, and today I'm gonna replace one of these because I'm not gonna use these samples of FL Studio. So just right click, replace for none. This way we have here just a sampler, but it doesn't have any sound. So if you go inside the piano roll, if you click somewhere, it doesn't make any sound. And well, if it doesn't show it like this, just click here, or if you have it like this, just right click on piano roll, but it's easier to make it this way. Okay, and now here I'm gonna put the scale. If you don't know music theory, you don't know what the scale is. Well, the scale is basically just some notes inside one group, we could say, that sound good. And there are a lot of scales like major, minor, Japanese, or Arabic and things like that, but the more generic are major and minor. In FL Studio we have here this tool. If you don't have it this way because maybe you're using an older FL Studio, just go here and go to stamp. Okay, and it's the same. And here, this section are all scales. Okay, so if we click on major and we put it, for example, on D, this is D major. Or if we choose minor, this is D minor. We can divide this inside saying that minor scales are more darker and sad, and these ones are happier. So if you want to make a happy song, maybe go for major. If you want to make a more sad or anthemic, we could say, or epic sound, go for minor. But it doesn't really matter. If sometimes you can use major and have a darker or sadder song than using minor. Okay. So what should we use? In progressive house, is more common to use minor scales than major, and the most generic or the most used scale in progressive house, in EDM music in general, is G minor. Okay, this is the most used one. This has a reason, and it's because of the low end. If you go here in the lower notes, I'm gonna just duplicate this. Okay, with clicking shift and click and dragging, you clone something. Okay, so I'm gonna put it here. So let's say that we are making the sub. The sub is just the low part of a song. If we open an equalizer, the sub bass is this place around here. This is the mids and this is the highs. And well, if we play some notes on G minor, we're gonna have more power or a better sub than if we, for example, use another scales or major scales. Why? Of course, if you just want to use another scale, just use another scale. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Just do whatever you want, whatever you like, and whatever you feel. But people say that using a G minor makes the sub better because these notes, for example, these ones here, are so good for the sub bass because it has a lot of power. But if you go too low, for example, here is too low, so you cannot really feel the bass or you cannot really hear it. And up here you can hear it but you don't feel it, you know, so this is like the right spot. But of course, if you want to use other scales, you can use it. And today what I'm going to do is use the F minor, because it's the one I like the most and the one I want to use today. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make this smaller, and now I'm going to clone it. Just Control C, Control V. Now with Control and Up you go one octave higher, and with the Shift and the arrow keys you can move it just once. So I'm gonna put it like this. Again, Control A to select everything, Control C, Control V, put it up, and Shift left. Okay, so now I have a scale in basically the entire piano roll. So now Control A to select it, Shift and click to and dragging to clone it, and I'm gonna do it again. So now I have the scale in 4 bars, okay? So the good thing is now if I go to another piano roll, and I'm gonna use the FO keys now, because it's the plugin I use whenever I start, just to start with ideas. I use this piano plugin. And I go to this piano row, I can see the notes. So I know the scale now. If you don't see this, can click Alt V, or just go here on help bars and ghost channels. So now I know that if I put notes here, you know, I do something like this, it is in the scale, so it's gonna sound good. Okay, but if for example I use this note here, it's not gonna sound good. Sometimes it's good to go out of the scale because of the variations the scales has. For example, if you go to a melodic minor and we put it here, you're gonna see that these two notes are different, the two upper ones. So sometimes it's good to go outside the scale, because sometimes it creates something cool. Or sometimes by using other notes that are not in the scale, you are changing the scale and are using another one that maybe is better for you at that moment. So well, how to start? I'm gonna start just by putting some notes here as bass notes, you know, something like this. And well, I'm gonna try maybe something like this, because starting with the first note, you know, is a bit obvious, because well, the root key of a scale is the lowest note, you know, so we are in F minor, the root key is F, and starting with the root key is good, but you know, it's too obvious. So I'm gonna start maybe with C sharp. Okay, I like this. So now what should I do? I should start creating chords. And how to create chords if you don't know anything about music? I'm gonna give you here a trick. As you can see, as I said, we can see the notes of the scale, right? So to create a chord, what I'm gonna do is leave between the notes I put, leave one note in the middle. So I have this one. This is the next note in the scale. I'm not gonna put nothing here, and I'm gonna put one here. So I leave one in the middle, and I'm gonna do the same here. So this is a chord, and it sounds good. If it doesn't sound good, you can try also by leaving 2 and then 1, or 1 and then 2. In this case, it doesn't sound good. Not a lot, so better this one. And do the same in all of them and see how it works. In my opinion, sounds good. So what I'm gonna do is just select these notes, and using the control click to select, and now with the shift click it, and I'm doing the same to select more than one, and I'm gonna clone this down so I have more body in it. And I'm gonna try to do inversion. An inversion of a chord is just choosing one of the notes and moving one up to higher or lower, because this chord, maybe this note is too high if we compare it to this chord here. So I'm gonna try to move it down and see how it works. Probably I'm gonna leave it like that, but no, I prefer like this. So now we need to start with the melody and what to do. if you don't have any ideas in mind, what I recommend you to do is go to listen to some music and get inspiration from other songs, but don't copy. And if you don't have any ideas, sometimes what I do is open a new FL Keys. I'm gonna silence this one and use some MIDIs. I have here a lot of MIDIs from songs, from sample packs or things like that. For example, I'm gonna load, this one. So here I have a melody by Dennis Koyu. Okay, it's called "Live," this song. Okay, probably you already know it. And now what I do is take all the notes, I put them in just one note. So what I get at the end is just the rhythm of this song and not the melody. So now I have the rhythm. And what I do now, sometimes I load another MIDI, and for example, I use these notes from this MIDI and this second bar from the another MIDI. But what I usually do is try to change the rhythm. Okay, so for example, try to add some variation to it, like something like this. Let's see how it sounds. So now you have something different, and now from here you can start creating a melody, like something like this. Okay, so you start with something. You don't start from zero. That sometimes this is the worst thing, because you don't have any ideas and you don't come up with some ideas. But for now, I have a rhythm in my head, so I'm gonna put it here. Okay, and I'm gonna clone it, all in the same note for now. And now what I just need to do is try to create a melody. So just let me try something. No, I don't really like it. I'm gonna try another thing. One thing that I forgot to say is that the fifth note of a song, of a scale, sorry. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the fifth note always works super well to create like an emotional melody. So if you base your melody in around this note and use a lot this note, the fifth, you're gonna have a super emotional melody, and this is something that a lot of big artists do. So I'm gonna try to do it. To repetitive, maybe like this. Okay, what I'm gonna do is this one, to don't repeat that much the beginning, I'm gonna change it, and what I'm gonna do is just move it up or down. And what I'm gonna do in this case is use one of the notes of the chord. So in the chord we have D sharp, G, and A sharp. So to don't go that high and or that low, maybe try this one or this one. No. I'm gonna also change this one, and I'm also gonna use one of the chords. As you can see, F is in the chord, so this is why it sounds good, but I'm gonna use G sharp. So let's check the song now. Okay, for now I like it, and what I'm gonna do is select everything, just Control A, and I'm gonna clone it here. By the way, I have some of the shortcuts I use in FL Studio in a YouTube tutorial. So if you want to know more about shortcuts, just go there and they can help you a lot. And what I'm gonna do now is try to change a bit those two last notes, the last bars, because this way is gonna have more variation, the melody. Okay, I'm gonna clone this to have the scale in this part. And the way you did this is just double right click in the ghost note and you go to that pattern, to that piano roll. So now I can see here the notes. I'm gonna go up. Yeah, I think now it sounds good. What should I do now? Now what I would do is try to create here a drop, a really fast drop, because this way I can see if the melody works, because sometimes you have a melody that sounds good or that you like, but it doesn't really work on progressive house or in EDM music. If you create the drop really fast, you're gonna know if it's good or not. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is try to find some leads. The leads are the sounds that that are more present, you know, that have the melody in general. And I'm gonna use Serum, and I'm gonna copy this here. I'm gonna silence this. Of course, this is just the basic one, you know. I'm gonna try to use other sounds. Let me maybe use one of these. I think this one can work well because it has a lot of attack, but let me take out the reverb and delay. This is something that you always have to do, and take the delay and reverb of the VSTs out, because maybe when I load another preset of Serum, it has also delay and reverb, but in another settings, you know, and then you load Silence and the reverb is different and also has other settings, and at the end you have 3 or 4 sounds that must be working like together, but they have like different rooms, so it doesn't really work. Just touching a bit. Okay, let's clone it and let's try to find another one. Again, what you need to do is try to find different sounds, because some people when layer just clone the sounds. For example, if we have this one, just clone it, and if it sounds louder, as it sounds louder now, they think it sounds bigger, fatter, and better, but it's not. It just sounds louder. So why don't you just go here and increase the volume? It's exactly the same. So don't do this. When you're layering, that is combining sounds to create a unified sound that work as one, you need to add different sounds that are gonna add something else. So for example, in this one, we have a dry sound, you know, showing your face and adding like the attack of the sound. And this one, I had to decrease the attack of it because it didn't work like this, combining with the other. So I prefer to decrease the attack, so now they play at the same moment. And this is another thing, another sound, because it has another vibe and another feeling and other frequencies. So if now we add another one, we need to add something different. For example, this one, let's decrease a bit the release because it's too long. You know, so each sound adds something different. And to save some time, I already prepared some of the sounds that I'm gonna use for the leads and so I'm gonna load them now, and I'm gonna explain why I chose those ones and how to use them, of course. But this way I'm not gonna be here spending like maybe 20 minutes trying to find all the leads or the basses or the chords and all these things, okay? Alright, so here I have the main sounds of the drop. These are the leads, these are the bass lines, and these are the chords. You don't need to use 7 leads, 4 basses, and 2 chords, okay? This is what what I decided to use. If with one bass is okay for you, just use one, but make sure that it sounds full, of course. And if with two leads sounds good for you, just use two, okay? And what I did here is using layers. This is something that FL Studio has, okay? If you go to insert or replace, you're gonna have here layer. And what is this for? What you have to do is open the layer, okay? And as you can see here, I had to set children and show children. So what I'm gonna do is select some of the sounds, okay? I can do it just click and drag, or click and with the shift enabled, or click it, just select some sounds. Okay, for example, these ones. Now I click on set children, and when I play any note on the piano roll or here, as you can see, those channels that I selected are being played. Okay, so this is what I did here with the layer up here that I'm gonna rename as lead, because this way is lot easier to work. Okay, I'm gonna copy the melody just here, and if I play now, all of these sounds are gonna be played. What other people do is just do it like this way, you know. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, because you know, if you want to change just one note, you change, for example, this note. Now you have to go here and change it in all of them, so it's a bit annoying. And now what I'm gonna do is on the bass line, I'm gonna just copy the low notes. This is also a layer, okay. This is too low. I'm not sure if this one or this one. I'm gonna just leave this octave for now. And now I'm gonna copy on the chords. So I'm gonna choose all of this, copy and paste it here. As you can see here, I'm not using any layers, just the sound itself, because there are just two. And this is what I said before. Your sound needs to add something. So we have this chord that is pretty high and pretty bright, and then you have this one that has more meat and is darker. So if you have some sounds and you take it, for example, let's say that we are playing this and I take out the chorus 2 and I don't hear a difference, that's because this sound is not adding anything new to the sound, to the overall sound. So just go here and delete it, because this way you're gonna save some CPU and it's gonna better to you to mix the song. So let's check. As you can hear, it adds something, so it's better to leave it like this. And now what I'm gonna do is add all of this to the mixer, because this way I can add effects. And what I'm gonna do is just select all of this, go here, for example, to the 20, right click, channel routing, and route selected channels starting from this track. All of them are gonna be placed here at the same time, one next to the other. And you can also click Shift Control L, so select the basses, go here, Shift Control L, and also the chords. If not, if you just have one, just click Control L and it's also added. So now what we have to do, what I like to do at least is work on each sound separate first, just adding some EQ to make it sound a bit cleaner or a bit better or the way I want. And then what I do is group all of this to one mixed channel. Now this sound goes from here directly to the master. But what I'm gonna do is make it go to one channel, for example this one, and I'm gonna EQ and do all these things, but this is gonna work for all of them. So just select all of these channels, clicking Control, Shift and click. Okay, click and drag or click and click. Go here, down below, right click, and route to this track only. So what this is going to do is, instead of going to the master, now they're going here. And here I'm going to create a group. I'm going to call it as leads. And I like to use this color because this way I can see really easy that this is a group. So now all of these sounds are going to be here. And whatever I do here, are going to be applied to these sounds. Okay, so for example, here with this sound, I'm going to use an EQ. So I do it this way, for example. But then if here I apply an EQ where I increase the highs, it's going to be applied, okay? So well, let me show you all the sounds that I decided to use for the leads and why I chose those. So this is the first one, second, third, as you could hear, I have different kind of sounds. First, I have this brass sound. I also have this string. Especially for progressive house, I like to have natural sounds like guitars or especially strings, because it creates a more natural sound. So with these two, I create a more natural sound. Then I have this one. and this one, that are really short, and what they're doing is adding the attack of the sound. But of course they are different. And then I have these three that are just creating the sound, the character of this sound. And I want to focus on this one. That is just a super saw. Probably this is too high. Yeah. There is just a super saw, and the super saw is just, just saws here, a lot of saws. And what this is gonna do is help to cover the space of the sound. Of course, this is gonna cover a lot of the frequencies, and that's what you wanna do, because in the leads, what you wanna do is have a sound that goes more or less from 150 or 200 hertz to 20,000 hertz. And this one, apart from adding a lot of these frequencies up in here, is gonna help to add space to the sound, to make it sound fuller and fatter, wider, bigger. So the first thing I'm gonna do is check where every sound needs to be, if one octave higher or lower. And well, I'm gonna decrease a bit the volume of them. So let's start with the first one. Let me increase from now the volume here, just with the limiter. Okay, this is maybe too low for this one. And if you have some, instead of using the layer, you have it like this, you can just go here, okay, and just control up and have it 1 octave higher. But as we are using a layer, you're gonna do this, because if you put this 1 octave higher, you're gonna be changing for all the sounds. As I just want to change this one for now, what I have to do is go here, and here you have a piano. So if you click, it just plays those notes, but if you right click, you're gonna set that note as the root key. So now this is playing like this, and if I change it here, it's gonna change the note. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just right click on the C4, so this way is 1 octave higher. I'm just gonna leave it like this, lower, because this way we cover more of the mid frequencies, because I have these sounds that are high. So with this one I cover more of the lows, mid lows of course. And now what I'm gonna do is just start EQing them. The first thing you need to do always is to use a low cut, because as you can see, here we have something. Maybe it's not a lot, maybe you don't really hear it, but if you have a bit here on this lead, a bit here on the second lead, a bit here on the third lead, and a bit here on all the leads, and then a bit here on the chords, and a bit here on the rights, on the claps, on the effects, and everything, at the end you're gonna have a lot of thing here. And the sub bass is something that needs to be super clean, and just leave it for the sub bass and for the kick if you can. And this way, if you cut, you're gonna give some space to the kick and the sub, and it's gonna sound a lot cleaner. So my advice is to cut until you can, because maybe your sound is just up here, so you can cut all of this. And what I do is just cut, and now start going up, and when I feel that the sound changes too much, I come back. This is too much. I don't really like the top end of this, so cut it a bit. You see, and just doing this for now. Now let's go for the second. I'm gonna check the attack of it, maybe change a bit. Better this way. Now this one. Can you hear in this one? We can hear like noise down here. You know, and now we don't hear it. Be careful with this one because it has a lot of sound up here. That is a bit annoying. Sounds a bit like nasal. I'm gonna decrease here a bit to leave a space to the lower sounds, because this is the trick, giving a space to the other sounds, and this way every sound has its place. This sound has something weird, and what I'm gonna do is open here an imager because I feel like it's on the right. What I'm gonna do is click here and detach. This way is up front. If I click somewhere, it doesn't go to the back. As you can see, it has something weird. And as it is the attack lead, you know, that is giving attack, I'm gonna just make it mono this way. So it's on the center, and wherever you are and wherever you play your song, it's gonna sound really powerful because it's gonna be there always. And probably in this one, I'm gonna try to make it like this. Not that obvious, maybe. Because I don't really need the highs of this lead, and this way, as I said, I give some space here for the other leads, because you need to think as the sound as your song is like a box that you cannot imagine that this is a box, all right, and you start putting things in here, so you start having a bit, you know. Now you have more bass, now you have more mids, now you have a lot of highs. So that what happens that when we get here, that we cannot add more highs, you know. So if we are start giving some space by cutting some of the highs of sounds that we don't need, it's not gonna be here, it's gonna be around here, so we can keep adding more sounds. And it's the same with the sub bass. If we don't cut, the sub bass is gonna be like this, so you cannot add more things, okay? So it's not gonna sound good. So let's continue with this. And also decrease. I don't like the highs of this one. So let's see now how it sounds. I'm gonna click Alt and left on the group, so I solo all the sounds that are linked here. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is solo again each sound. I'm gonna check here, so I can see if it's too wide, because sometimes some sounds are too wide and you can create some phase problems on the sound, and you don't want that. As this one is also an attack one that is giving attack, I'm gonna give it more to the center. Somewhere like this. And what I'm gonna do is this string, I'm gonna give it a bit to the right, like you can see up here, like 10%, just a little bit. And this one, 10% on the left. Okay, so now I open a bit more the sound. And moving left, I'm gonna make it a bit more wider, this one. And also this one. No, I'm not gonna do this because this is more on the mids and this is more on the highs, and it's creating something weird because on the left you have more highs than on the right, and you don't really want that. As you can see, this is mono, but sometimes it goes to the left and to the right. So to be secure, I'm gonna just put it on mono. Maybe I'm putting too many sounds on mono for now. Maybe later I make it then wider. I can make this a bit wider. On this one, what I'm gonna use is the dimension expander. So let's see how wide it sounds. My opinion for now sounds pretty good. And now what we need to do is to start leveling the volumes. Start with this one. I don't like the highs, so I'm gonna cut them. Sometimes to level the volumes better, what I like to do is put the master in mono, so I hear it in the center, and this way it helps you a bit to level better the volumes, because if it's wide, maybe you hear more the sounds on the sides or more the sounds in the center, and this way maybe you don't balance well the volumes. Those highs are too annoying. This one has too much release. Okay, I just don't need this now. Has a bit more release than others, and when I play them, it's like this keeps playing. So I'm gonna check another serum. This one, for example, release is on 15, so I'm just gonna decrease it to 15. Now it sounds better, sounds more unified if all of them has the same release. Those highs are pretty bad, actually. I'll have to work later on them. And now I'm gonna mute them one by one, so I see if they are maybe too quiet or too loud. So for me it's good now. So what I'm gonna do now is start working here on the bus. So I create the leads itself and I unify them more. So the first thing I like to do is EQ again. I'm gonna take out the mono, sorry. And now I'm gonna use some plugins that I like a lot. There is the Camel Crusher first. I like to put the British clean. It makes it so compressed and loud. And then the OTT. This plugin, I like it a lot. And what I do to use it is I put it to 100%. And now I start touching this until I get the sound that I like. Of course, it's going to sound super, super, super compressed. But inside that over compression, I'm going to try to make it sound good. And now I reduce sometimes, well, most of the time I put it on 30 or maybe 20%. 30 maybe. Can you hear the difference? It sounds now, it sounds more in your face. So now what I'm gonna do is maybe if I need it, I'm gonna add another key. I'm gonna use the Pro Q2 now. As you can see here, we have some lows because of the compression of OTT and the distortion of Camel Crusher. And it has some sounds, some frequencies around here that I don't like, so maybe add these ones. Maybe reduce. Don't worry if you cut a bit on the highs of the leads, because later you're gonna have some highs from the chords, you're gonna have some highs from white noise that you're gonna add, from effects and all these things. And if at the end you need to increase somewhere around here to add some highs, just do it. And I'm gonna try to find some resonance they hear around here. So I create a notch and I go up. Here. As it is between the C and C5, I'm gonna make zoom with the mouse wheel. I'm gonna move it in the middle more or less. Okay, so around here. And I'm gonna decrease by maybe 5 dBs. If I don't have that much resonance, a bit more. Now what I would do is add a limiter. I like to use the L1. I don't need to compress really because the Camel Crash is already adding some compression, and also the OTT is just a compressor, so I don't need to use like the D-glue or a normal compressor. So I'm just gonna use the L1 limiter from Waves to compress not more than 6 dB. So this is too much. As you can hear, it starts sounding weird. And now the kickstart. I like to use this plugin. I'm not gonna use it that much, maybe 85. Okay, so now we have the leads. Now let's go to the bass line and do exactly the same. Okay, so I'm gonna do it a bit faster now because I don't have to explain it. And let's do this fast so I can see if this melody is good for a drop or if not. I'm gonna add here the kickstart at the end. I like to put the sidechain always at the end. And on this one, I'm gonna cut also the low end, and you're gonna say maybe why if this is the bass line, because later I'm gonna add a sub bass, and this way it's gonna be a lot cleaner, and it's gonna be easier for you to mix it, and it's gonna sound better. I'm gonna use the effector by FL Studio, as it already has like a voice effect. I'm gonna use it here too. Just a little bit. That's more body to it. I'm gonna also lower them a bit. Second one. Well, and I didn't explain this, but I have like two lower bassline. Is this one? This dry and lower. This one that is more the tuned and also lower. This one that is dry and higher. And this one that is high and detuned. So I have two dry basses. I have two detuned or soft basses that helps to cover more space. And then we also can say that I have two lower basses and two higher basses. Okay, so I cover all the space. In the bass we don't need that much highs because it's gonna be covered by the chords and the leads. Let's see how they sound. Let's check the imager. It goes too low and we don't want to have a lot of sound here. It doesn't go that much, you know, because all the time basically is up here, but as this is the bass, I'm gonna make it a bit more mono. And this one also. It's okay. This one is okay. It's white, and this is too white. Okay, because it's most of the time is on the red, so I'm gonna make it a bit more mono. So now we have two sounds that are more in the center. One that is a bit more open, and one that is a lot more open. So I cover all the stereo spectrum. And I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna open first an OTT. Can you see that is adding life to the sound? Now let's EQ a bit. And probably I'm not gonna add something else to this sound. Maybe I'm gonna try to add the effector again, just a little bit. No, in this case I don't like it, so I'm just gonna add a limiter. Because this way you help a lot to make the sound more unified and to at the end to have a better signal to master the song, because you don't have that much peaks. And now finally I'm gonna do the same with the chords, and we're gonna be able to check if the sound is good or not. And well, this basically I do it super fast because I already load all of these effects, and well, later if I want to, and or most of the times I do it, I just change the sound, you know, or those leads and those basses, so not all my tracks sound exactly the same. But this way I can have a fast idea of how this sound sounds. So let's cut the lows. Also on this one, I'm gonna EQ them together at the same time. Okay, and as this one has more power like around here, and this one has more around here, what I'm gonna do is leave some space on this one like this, and on this one like this. But let me check. So they work better together. And what I'm gonna do is make the mid one a bit more mono, more in the center, and this one more in the sides. Because if you have the as you go down in the EQ, okay, as you go down, you want to have more mono sound. So this needs to be mono, this a bit wider, you know, and the highs more wider. Sometimes the mids are wider than the highs, okay, that depends on your taste, but this is how I like to do it. Now I'm gonna do the same, some comma crusher to make the sound a bit fatter. Now some OTT. Now some EQ. I'm gonna use the per EQ. I like to use this one on the buses, I don't know why. I'm gonna cut here a bit. And I'm gonna reduce a bit of the high end. It's too much. And the chords, you need to think them as something that supports the song. So they don't need to be present. So if you have to cut something like this, to give a space to the leads, to the bass, to the leads here too, do it, because they are just there to support a bit and to make it sound a bit fuller, but not to be present really in the mix. Now some limiting first, and then some kickstart. Bit more, and some kickstart. Sometimes I like to have the same setting as in the bassline, and sometimes I like to have the same setting as in the leads. And in this case, I'm gonna use the same as in the bassline, because this way this sounds a bit more unified. So now if we play all of them, probably, yeah, we have to match the volumes better. And of course we need a sub bass, so what I'm gonna do is just use the 3x OSC by FL Studio, because I just need a sine wave, okay? And why using, for example, Serum or Silent, that are gonna use more CPU to just create a sine wave? So I just like to use the 3x OSC, and this way I save a lot more CPU, and I don't have any problems later. Give some space. Okay, the sub, and I'm gonna move the sub up here and copy the bass to the sub. This is way too high, and we wanna have them. We wanna have the sub bass really low, but not too low. Okay, that's too high. Maybe 2 octaves lower. It's somewhere between this and this, because I want to have some sound, some sub here on the 100 frequencies. But what I'm gonna do is just leave it here, and this place around here I'm gonna cover with the bassline, so I'm not gonna cut that much. Let me see, maybe this one. Yeah. And the kickstart here. So now, okay, so I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna load super fast some sounds. As we are in F minor in this case, the best thing you have to do, you can do, is to add sounds that are in F. I'm talking about the snare, I'm talking about the kick, especially some the toms and all these things. So I'm gonna use kick in F. You also can use some other kicks that are in the scale, especially if you're using those notes for the bass notes. So as you can see, we have C sharp on the bass, so you could use it, but to be safer and to be more secure, just use the lower one, the root key, and if you can, of course. So I'm gonna use one of my kicks, this one. I'm gonna also add some claps. This is sample pack that, well, maybe when you are maybe when you're watching this sample pack is already out, but for now it is not, because it's not finished yet. I need some rights too. For the rights, I like to use one by Dennis Koyu. Drums, sorry. Cymbals, rights. Yeah, this one probably. And I'm gonna clone it. So what I'm doing now is just create something to as it was the drop, but of course it's not. It needs a lot more work. Let me add here with Control L the sounds, so I can clean a bit these claps. I'm gonna change the claps. I'm gonna maybe use one of Kashmir. Drop claps. Yeah, this one work better. And now I'm gonna add just some downlifters. I'm gonna also use one of mine probably. This one, as it has a bit of sidechain, I'm gonna put it here. I like to have the mixer as drums, synth, and effects. Okay, so that's why I'm adding them in this order. Okay, something like this. Maybe I need some crashes. No, I need a higher crash, so I'm also gonna search it here. As you're gonna be able to see, I'm gonna use a lot of Kashmir sounds, especially for things like crashes, rides, and so. I'm gonna decrease. I'm gonna cut the lows as always, and I'm gonna decrease a bit the mids. Yeah, something like this. So let's see now. Okay, so I think it's okay to test it. As I said, I do this a lot faster. Now I was explaining some. Most of the times I just load a mixer channel that I have prepared for the leads, and this way I work a lot faster to check it. But this would be in idea like a basic idea of the drop and how it would sound. All right, so well, from here, what should we do? I think the idea is cool. Just start creating some sounds and creating the break, the build up, all these things. Of course, add reverb because now it sounds so boring, so in your face, so dry, and all these things. All right, so let's hurry up and try to make this as quick as possible. What I'm gonna do is just move it here, somewhere like 1, 2, 3, maybe like this, or maybe like this. Well, I'm gonna put it just like this. This is gonna be the build up, this is the drop, and this is the breakdown. Yeah, probably it's too short, so one more. I'm just gonna start creating some sounds here to build the breakdown. And sometimes what I do that I'm not gonna do now is just insert here a new track, and I put here one song that I like, because this way, if I don't have any ideas, if I'm stuck a bit, I can listen to that song and see what I can add, just get some ideas. Don't copy. And sometimes to avoid copying, I add like 2, 3, 4 songs, and this way I get this idea of this one, that idea of that another one, and this way you start building your own thing, because you start with your idea and you add this of that song, this of that another song, and at the end nobody's gonna realize that you took that idea from those songs. So it's gonna help you a lot when you don't have ideas or you don't know what to do. Okay, so I'm gonna start with some pads. So I'm just gonna create a new pattern. I'm gonna call it as pads, and here I'm gonna try serum, and I'm gonna copy the chords for the pads. Okay, let me here I have some good pads. Okay, I'm gonna copy down below so I create more harmonies and I make it with more body. What I'm gonna try better is a piano. I'm gonna try 3 pianos. Or better, I'm gonna try Addictive Keys. This is a really cool piano plugin. And there's one that I like. Where is it? No, explore. Yeah, this one. But with a darker tone, no effects. Okay, and I'm gonna add some pads, and probably what I'm gonna use is a bang from Zen World. Evolution of Sound is Progressive Solutions, and this one has cool arps. Yeah, this one is the good one. I'm gonna just leave now the delay and reverb and so, but later I'm gonna take it out, okay? But now just see how it works. Okay, what I'm gonna do is automate the cutoff of this. So just move this, all right? On FL Studio plugins, you just, for example, if we open the EQ, what is it? For example, this EQ, just right click and you can here and you can create automation clip, you know. But on non-FL Studio plugins, you have to do it another way, and the fastest way, just move it, go here, right click, and create automation clip. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is automate it, and what I'm gonna do is maybe like this. Create a new with T. I'm gonna click this type in value. Okay, I'm gonna put it 0.5. That's too much. And I recommend you to always don't leave it like this, because sometimes when you're here, maybe you can think that you are in zero. So if you have it like this, it's gonna be better. And enable the piano. No, the cutoff is too strong. Just let me reset this bank, so I have the plugin the cutoff as it was. Okay, so I'm gonna link them to just here. This one it's a bit of EQ. Maybe 1 octave higher. Yeah. Or no, but just without these ones. Yeah, a lot better now. Okay, and I'm also gonna filter the piano, and I'm gonna use this one. I like to use a lot this plugin. It's just a filter plugin. I think it's free. I don't remember now. And I need some rights here to give some movement. Oops. Or maybe another one by Koyu too. Another right. Yeah, this one. I'm gonna change it. Also in the drop. Here I'm gonna add those claps. And here I would add the snares, all right? I'm gonna try to add some strings on the breakdown to make it sound fuller and more natural. And well, basically because I want to. So just go here and I'm gonna use, for strings, I'm gonna use the Philharmonic. It's a really cool plugin for natural sounds. And I'm gonna use the, where is it? Here, this one. Sounds super full. Sometimes some notes are not playing. So these ones here are not playing, so I'm just gonna delete the 2 octave. Okay, and these ones, what I'm gonna do is add them here. It's too much on the left, so the sound stops because this is a 32-bit plugin and FL Studio 64. Make it a bit louder. But this is not sounding full, so I'm gonna add another layer, and I'm gonna use ones that I like that are from Kashmir. If you go here, the cello is the one I like. And also these two sounds are going to be added here. And those two are going to be linked here. I'm going to create a group that I'm going to call the strings with this color. Okay, for now I'm not going to cue it just to make it quick. They're too loud. Maybe I change later the class because I don't really like them. And well, what I'm gonna add now to make this sound fuller is some ambient sounds, alright? To cover the spectrum, because basically this is what I'm gonna have, okay? I'm gonna have some pads, I'm gonna have some strings, and later I'm gonna add the plug with the melody. But this is the basic thing, so I need to cover a lot of space, and I'm gonna add some atmosphere sounds, and I like to use the ones by cymatics, effects, ambience. And as we are in F, I'm gonna go directly to the F or around, you know, E, maybe D sharp, and I can pitch it later. I like this one. Oh, I thought it was gonna have again that highs. So as it only has the highs at the beginning around here, I'm gonna cut it because I don't want them, basically. And I have to pitch it one semitone up. You have to look here, and it needs to be on 100. 100 means one semitone, so now it's an F. And now I want to loop it, so if I did this way, it's a problem because and it starts again. So I want to do it like this, and yeah, like this is okay. Yeah, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. Okay, and 1 2 3. Okay, this is a drop. Okay, so I don't want it in the build up, so I'm gonna cut it. I click at C just to change to the cut, and P to change to the paint. If you click and just create some noise, you know, it's because you have this enabled. Because now if I have this and I click C or P, it's gonna play some note of this sound. But if you don't have this enabled, you're just gonna be able to change it. And now, as it cuts so straight, what I'm gonna do is change this to smooth, and I'm gonna do it like this. Or to crossfade better, so it's a bit softer. We need more effects. Okay, I'm gonna try this one. I don't know if it has ambience. Long strings. I can try this. Yeah, I'm gonna use this one. Also, I'm gonna pitch the one up. I'm gonna put it here. Yeah, these things in the background. These things in the background creates a lot of tension. But of course, a lot lower. So in the background. So without this ambience, it's like this. But with the ambience, it has more sound, more space. Okay, and I thought on doing another thing for the strings, and what I'm gonna do is put them from here. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is add a filter and creating like a riser effect with them. Okay, so let me show you. I'm gonna take out the resonance. I'm gonna move this, right click, create automation. I'm gonna put it down here. I'm gonna do it like this. Until they don't get here, that is the build-up, they're not gonna sound like they should, you know, they're gonna be filtered. And then here I'm gonna filter them out before the drop. Okay, so this way is like it is rising all the time, you know. I'm gonna do one thing that I like a lot to do, and it's adding one plug. I usually use the ones by Kashmir, river plugs. Maybe that's too strong. It's about one semitone up. No, 4 down. Okay. Okay, but I want it here. Here I'm gonna duplicate it. All right, and now I'm gonna try to add one kick, really filter kick. I'm gonna use the hip hop ones that he has. I think is in the third kicks, hip hop, chest. Yeah. Let me see. This is so strong. I know which one I can use. Here I downloaded from Splice, it's free, the project of Second Torres for you. And here I have all the stems. They leave it for free there, so if you want to go there and download it. And they have this tiny kick, probably is entire stems. So I'm gonna open Edison. Okay, I'm gonna detach it and I'm gonna put this here. So I'm just gonna get one. Okay, and now I'm gonna put it here. So replace it. And the volume. So it's a bit softer, but it has too much body, or too much knock, or however you want to call it, the click. And I want to have it filter, so yeah, something like this. And I'm also gonna keep it here in the build-up. And here I'm gonna put it here. Yeah, so let me check. Okay, and as you could hear, maybe this sound stops. Okay, and I wanted to have more reverb. So what I'm gonna do now is go here to the last 4 channels. Okay, I'm gonna select them, right click and dock to the right. So now they are here, and wherever you move, I have it. Okay, I'm gonna use this as reverb buses or reverb sends. And well, I'm gonna load this from some of my tracks because this way is faster. Well, I'm gonna load them now. So, and I will explain later what I do here and why I have all of this on the reverb. So now I can take this one and click here, just click, okay, and it is to the max, so it's applying here the reverb. And what is this doing is cloning this sound here, okay, so we are sending this sound to the master but also here, so we're gonna have a dry signal and a wet signal. and I want a bit more. Okay, and less mids maybe. So let's see how it is now. Okay, of course we need here a sub bass, and I'm not gonna use the same one as the drop, so I'm gonna create a new one that is gonna be, and well, it's gonna be the same, okay, but I prefer to have it in a different way. Breaks up because this way I can treat it differently, you know, and I don't know if I have to apply some effects here and I don't want them in the one on the drop, I can do it. So just let me copy it because it's gonna be exactly the same. Copy, paste, and we have it. Okay. And well, now the thing is that we have one kick. It is so short, but it's a kick that if we open here in the master an EQ, we can see that it has frequencies here, and we have this sub that has frequencies here. So they are clashing a bit, and the low end needs to be super clean. So what I'm gonna do, instead of just using like the kickstart, because as this kick is so short, what I'm gonna do is use the peak controller. And what is this? Well, the peak controller is one plugin that I'm gonna open here that is gonna send the information of this kick to somewhere I want, and it's gonna decrease the volume or increase it, or the thing you want to do on that other sound. So what I'm gonna do is load here Fruity Balance. It's just a volume plugin. You can use a compressor, you can use the EQ or whatever. Right click, link to controller, and here you're gonna see all of these are automations, and these are the big controls that you have in your track. So you have to check the one you want, in this case the tiny kick, and click on peak. Now you click here and invert it. So now if we play it, you can see that every time the kick plays, it goes down, but it is on the max, so you have to move the bass. In this case, just right click and type and put 0.2. So this is on 0. And it makes it reduce. Don't go too heavy with this, too crazy. Okay, don't go, let me boost this so I can show you what I mean. Okay. You don't want to create this wave here, because when this sounds, okay, when this is on the top, what this is doing is reducing. So now it reduces and then it stays a bit more reduced when the kick is not playing, so you don't want this. So better reduce it somewhere around here, but maybe this is too much. So what I'm gonna do is, with this EQ, I'm gonna filter, increase the volume so you can hear it, and I'm gonna open this exoscope. So as you can see, it's creating like it goes down and up, and I don't really want it, at least for the breakdown. So I'm gonna reduce this a bit more. So without the big controller, and with it cleans a bit more the sound, you know. All right, so now we have it. Let's play it. Okay, I need to change those claps because I don't like them. Let me try. These are Kashmir, right? Yeah. Let me try maybe the Koyu ones. Or let me try one of mine. Maybe these ones, okay, but as they are so long, what I'm gonna do is reduce the out and do it like this. I like it a bit more now. Okay, so what else we could add? What I'm thinking is adding, well, I need some effects here and there to make it sound full, all right? To make it sound more interesting. I have some sounds like this that covers the space. I have these ones that adds like a rhythm, but we need some effects here and there to make it more interesting. And what I like to use is some reverse sounds, and I'm gonna maybe... I have one downlifter that I like that can fit well here. Yeah, this one is in G sharp, so I'm gonna decrease G, F, no, F sharp, F, sorry, and maybe in the middle. It's so low. You know, and let me put it here and here. I like to use also some reverse effects. Or no, better these ones here. I need to know the keys, so I'm gonna use a plugin called G-Tune. All right, detach this and check it. G sharp. Oh, I think this one is the one I use it here. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is decrease it 3, 4. Is that G sharp? No, 3. Yeah. And what I'm gonna do is create a smooth, something like this. Let me check. All right, so we have more things going on. I'm gonna add another different vocal here, or better, not a vocal because we already use it vocal here and here. So I'm gonna add a synth. Where are they? Synth shots. So F. They are too strong and I don't like this, so let me check here maybe. Reverse synth here. Don't want the filter. I think I'm gonna use this one, but of course in F. No, this one, sorry. It's too low. I'm gonna use another vocal. Okay, this is in C sharp, so 1, 2, 3, 4 up. I'm continuing on my piano. Okay, but I don't want those highs. They are pretty annoying, so I need to lower them. I better cut them. Did you hear that click? So that's why I want to, I like to use these smooth things, because it's why it doesn't create it. Okay, but I need more reverb, so I'm gonna link it here, and well, I'm gonna decrease a bit the mids. All right, so let's check now. Okay, I was searching here one sound. I have it. Yeah, I load it here. I save it here. Some sounds. Here is. I want to use this too. So this sound is gonna help a bit here. Oh, this was too loud. Yeah, it helps a lot. And this one, I want it to be here to create some rising effect. Okay, so here starts the build up, and what else? I'm gonna need some downlifters. So I'm gonna check on Kashmir or on my here effects downlifters. Maybe this one works well here. But I need a clean one. Yeah, this one. I'm gonna add it here. And well, I wanna change this sound because I don't really like it. So I'm gonna try to find another one that sounds a bit better. Yeah, I like this one. So let me check how it sounds here. Sorry, it is pitched up. Better if I use generic, just yeah. Now put it here and put it here. All right. So we have more movement now. Okay, I'm gonna add here some shakers to add some more movement with percussions. Let me check. No. Yeah, I'm gonna use this one. So I'm gonna put it here. And I've been thinking on adding more movement and this sound. I'm gonna make it go left and right. And I'm gonna use the pancake to do this. Maybe on one bar. No, better two because it's the breakdown. And I don't want that much, something like this. So it goes a bit left and right and creates more movement to the sound. So we have some pads, we have some strings, we have some ambience, and this one is going left and right. We have some drums that are adding body to it with the kick, adding some movement with the shakers, and we have this plug that is adding, like a rhythm. Well, this sub bass too. I forgot. And then here we have some effects, just to cover the space, to make it move, and to add things to it. So now I'm gonna try to find a plug for the melody. I'm gonna call this as plug, and I'm gonna load here serum, for example. And well, I need the melody, so go here, copy, go to the plug, paste it here. I'm gonna rename this as plug or how it's called. Okay, so I'm gonna try the real plugs. Well, these ones I think they are more for drops. No, I want a really soft thing. Yeah, I like this one. And I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna add a lot of reverb. Well, I added before these reverbs, okay? So I'm gonna link now the leads here, the chords here, and these percussions here too. And now I'm gonna copy the leads reverb on the plug, and I'm gonna add a lot of it. I'm gonna add all of these sounds on the mixer. All right, all of them. And I want a lot of decay. So I put it a lot in the back. And well, the strings and so also need some reverb, so I'm gonna start adding this. First I need to take out the reverb here. Okay, this one, no, this one, yeah, take out the reverb. So add the reverb here. I like to use always the Valhalla Vintage Verb, is the one I like the most, you know. And I'm gonna add some ambience. Let me try this once, maybe. No, but this is too short. So pads, yeah, these presets. I put it to the max because this way I can hear how it sounds. And I'm gonna choose just the first. Okay, so around 30% maybe, a bit more mids, less highs, a bit more attack, and the size I want it on 70. The piano and the pad, I'm gonna create here a group. There's gonna be pads, and these two are gonna have also some reverb, the same one. Okay, that's a problem that most of people do. I'm gonna be taking out the reverb here. Okay, most of people start using different reverbs for things that are in the same playing at the same moment, and that's not something you want to do, because of course the strings and the pads are going to be in the same room. Maybe the pads are more in the background, maybe the pads are more in the front, but this is what you're gonna be setting with the mix. But the room needs to be the same one, so it's better to use the same reverbs. Okay, and well, the plug has another reverb, but there's not a huge problem. Okay, if one sound has different reverb. I'm gonna try another thing. I'm gonna go for the Progressive Solutions by Zangwald again. This has more body, so maybe this sounds better. This one, but of course it needs to be EQ'd. I need less reverb. And what I'm gonna do for this reverb, I'm gonna use the peak controller as I did before, but I'm gonna link this, okay, link to controller. Now I'm gonna choose the plug on peak, invert, okay. So when the plug hits, the reverb is not gonna be there, so the attack of the plug is gonna be cleaner. And I'm gonna also add a delay to create more space. I'm gonna set the time on 2. I right click it to do this. I'm gonna do the same. So let's see now. I'm gonna try to find another plug. I'm not sure about this one. Make sure that this doesn't go on red here, because otherwise you're gonna be clipping the sound before it gets to the mixer, and well, you're gonna be destroying the sound. So better make sure it doesn't clip here, and then if you have to boost, you boost. Okay. I'm gonna maybe try to make this go step by step. Something like this, but with a filter. So I'm gonna add here again the filter, this one, less resonance, and move this, and now create a automation clip here. What I did here is when you right click, as you can see here, the C has some dots and the P has some dots. So if you click C or P, you're gonna be doing these things as the T on the type. Okay, now I need to hurry a bit. I'm gonna create here the build-ups with some risers, some snares, and so on. And as I said before, as we are in F, I'm gonna click F12 to close everything. As we are on F, we need a snare that is on F. So I'm gonna try to find some snares. I want this one. I like this one, but maybe when I lower it, it's not gonna sound good. No. So just delete it, and I'm gonna search for some on the Kashmir sample pack. Snares. Oh, we are in rebuild. Okay. Gotta go here, tight. This one. What I'm gonna do now is create the drum fill, riser, build up, however you wanna call it. Okay. So today, I have this snare that is the main one, and I'm gonna put it like this. Oops, like this. Okay, here. This is the pre-drop. Yeah. So this out. I'm gonna clone it here, and then in this part I'm gonna clone it again. Okay, and then this one, the trap one, what I'm gonna do is do it like this. To don't make it that boring on the builder, don't make the snares that boring and that obvious. Now here I have to clone it, so as even if I go here I don't see more lines. What I'm gonna do is click here, where is it? Click here on the magnet and click half a step, and I can move it, put it here, and then here duplicate it even more, so 1/4, and it's done. Okay, now online again. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is just select this, right click, double click here, put the pitch on 12, right click, create automation clip, and now for the second snares I could do the same, just 12, right click and create automation. But what I'm gonna do is link to controller, and I'm gonna search this automation, right? So it's this one. So now when I touch it, this automation is gonna be affecting these two sounds. Okay, I need to repeat the kick here and here. I'm gonna be filtering out the kick. So let's go here, take the kick. I'm gonna use the filter, and I'm gonna be filtering it up as it goes, the build up. Oops, sorry. I have to put them to here. So the kick is leaving. And now we have here the snares. Of course, I'm gonna decrease a lot the volume, and I'm gonna create a group for them. Okay, so now I have them. I also need to filter the pads. So what I'm gonna do is just put this here, and I'm gonna make them unique, so I can tweak them differently. And what I'm gonna do is just put this here and this go down, okay, and then make it go up, so this way in the second breakdown you can have it. But I'm gonna delay this a bit more, because with the reverb and delay and release of the sound, if now here I enable again the put back the filter, when drop starts, probably it's gonna have some sounds of this. Just do it like this and you're more secure. And here I'm gonna do the same but the opposite. I'm just gonna do it like this. I want to have it the same, so 8. All right, the strings, the plug is going, and so on. Now I need some risers, so I'm gonna use my risers. I need risers and uplifters. This one is good. I want this one, and I need an uplifter. Okay, I'm just gonna put them here, and I need to have this here. Take a bit out of the in, so it starts like in 0. Now this is A sharp, so I need to reduce 5 down. This is just the sub, and this is the rider. This is in F already, so a bit more like this, and this one too. All right, and I'm gonna add a sub drop right here. Okay, now I need to put these risers, of course, in the mixer. This one needs to be sidechained to the kick, because as the it is sub, a sub drop, and well, in the builder when it starts we have the kick, so I need to sidechain it this way. So let's see how it is now. All right, so well, we need to work a bit more. We need the downlifters needs to be here. I want an exhaust that is cold. Smear have the best ones, as always. This one, so it starts with more power on the build-up. Okay, now I'm gonna look for a fill for this section, the pre-drop. I'm also gonna use mine. I like this one. Did you hear that? That is because of the filter. Because at this moment, the filter is not working. So what you need to do is just move one before, and then this move right, okay? And to keep it, as you can see, I cannot go up and down, just left and right, is by clicking the shift. I reverse it, so now we have like a bit of sweep up. All right, and I also need some sweep ups, some noise sweep ups, short ones. This one, I think is cool. Wow, it's too short, so maybe better these ones. Yeah, I'm gonna use this. So now the transition is better. Okay, the leads of course need a lot more work. They sound a bit bad now. I think for now we have something pretty full, at least for now. So what I'm gonna do is start working on the leads and the basses and so. And well, first what I'm gonna do is divide this. So I'm gonna make unique, rename this as leads, rename this as chords, make this unique and rename it as baseline, and make this unique and rename it as sub bass. All right, so in the leads, just leave the leads. In the chords, just leave the chords. The baseline, of course, just the baseline. And on the sub, just the sub. Well, and all of them, well, I'm gonna just delete the for keys because I don't need it now. And I can do things like this. And what I'm gonna do is copy this and this, paste it here. And what I'm gonna do, oh, the claps need to be changed. What I'm gonna do is do something like this, probably. Of course, this needs to go here. This on mixer, this not. Okay. All right, so we start to have something pretty cool, in my opinion, at least for the time I spent on it. And what I'm gonna do now is start working a bit more on the sounds of the leads, the chords, and so on, because now it doesn't sound powerful. It doesn't sound bright, you know. I don't know. I don't really like how it sounds by now. So let's just start with the pads. Let me see first how it sounds. Of course, without the filters. Yeah, I want it like this, but this is too low, so yeah, better. And this maybe I'm gonna clone the lower ones, so this way it covers more space. Yeah. Yeah, and I need to set the values a bit better. I'm gonna take out now the fruity limiter. And as you can see, we are almost on 0. So what I'm gonna do is select everything. On the groups, I'm just gonna select the groups. And I'm gonna put everything down a little bit. So we have more space. Let's start one by one. As I did before, I'm gonna put it on mono. Why is this sounding? All right, so let's put this one here, for example. And this one as is the same also here. Okay, let me put, for example, these two ambient things. Now I'm gonna be a bit quiet, okay, and I'm gonna try to do all the things I said before, but now a bit faster. I don't want that much attack on these shakers, so I'm gonna reduce a bit the attack. I mean here. When you hear it quiet, it helps also to see if something is too loud or not. I'm gonna take out the filters so I can hear better. As you can see, I always do low cuts, as I said before. I'm gonna glue them a bit with the deglue, and I'm gonna use just a preset that is called string smooth strings. And I'm gonna decrease here a bit because this way I leave some space for the pads. And well, some limiters at the end, because as I said before, I like to limit everything just a little bit. You know, not that much. Nothing like this, because this way it's gonna help you later to mix the things, to match the volumes, you know, to master also. All right. This needs a lot more reverb. This cuts here. Basically, what I'm gonna do is add this reverb here, and probably I'm not gonna use this delay. Let's see better. I'm gonna keep the claps and the rights because this way, I don't know, I think the transition is gonna be a bit better. But what I'm gonna do is make them go down. So I'm gonna create here just a group of percussions. So I put here a fruity balance, and now I use it. So I make it go down. Okay, let me take out all of the new sounds that are these ones. These four, I'm gonna move them here. I'm gonna link it here. And here I'm gonna create a group called risers. Okay, I'm gonna mute them now. This is new. And these two here are new ones. Now let's put these ones, for example. I'm not gonna use this one here because it has a bit of sidechain. Later maybe I organize this a bit more because now it's a bit of chaos. I'm gonna put this one here. I'm gonna EQ it because I don't like it now. And here I'm gonna use another P controller different for this sub. Where is it? This sub, because it is so strong. So I prefer to use another one and make it less strong. And now I'm gonna mute all of the risers together. I'm gonna cue this one. A bit of less mids here. I'm gonna put a D-glue with the smooth strings because this way they're gonna be glued together, and it helps and helps to create a more natural sound, more unified sound. Sorry, because they have the same attack and the same release. And I'm gonna just put the reverb here on 30. No, that's too much. 15. And of course a limiter, and I'm gonna try maybe to put also an OTT to bring some highs. Okay, and less. I'm gonna put just 10% or just decrease this a bit. Let's check with the song. Alright, now I can come back to stereo. This needs to be somewhere. I'm gonna put it just here and reduce the volume, of course. So now it's a bit better, the breakdown on the build-up. So now what I'm gonna do is work on the leads, and the first thing I'm gonna do is just delete this, okay, and create a new one, because yeah, I want to start from 0. I just did it super fast before, and now what I'm gonna do is listen to all of them and maybe change again the key, the octave. For example, now I wanted this one to be lower, and this one I think is okay. Yeah, and this one also I want it lower. So it has more body. And what I'm gonna do also is I'm gonna click Ctrl A and I'm gonna make this a bit shorter. Do you have more attack? Like, now let's just start again. Just some EQ. High cut and low cut. Now an OTT. Now I'm gonna open an EQ. I'm gonna put just a filter that I'm gonna use in the build-up. I'm gonna put a limiter and I'm gonna put the sidechain again on 85, I think it was. Now we enable the reverb. And the thing I like to do is send both the dry signal, the reverb or the wet signal, this one, to one channel. So what I'm gonna do is right click here, route to track only. Now I have to click again on the leads. And now the leads, route to track only, okay? And here what I'm gonna do is try to glue them a bit more. I'm gonna use the glue, just a little bit. Less reverb probably, and another EQ. This more in case I think I need it later. Now I can cut here a bit more. And now let's go to the reverb. What do I have here on the reverb? Well, I'm gonna just take this out, so it just goes to the reverb. And here what I like to do is to put delay and reverb together. Because this way, what I first do is make it sound a bit bigger, you know? And then I put this into a really big reverb. I'm gonna even make this a bit longer, like 3.2. Bit less low cut. Now I like to EQ a bit. And that's why I like to use a sand bus for the reverb, because this way I can treat it the way I want. And here the limiter, because I also like I like to limit the reverb. And well, as these two go to the same bus, I'm just gonna put this kickstart here. So I just need one plugin and not two, because the reverb also needs sidechain, of course. And then here I have a frequency balance, and what I'm gonna do is the same as I did before. I'm gonna use the peak controller to sidechain a bit the reverb. So right click, link onto controller. Now we search the leads, peak, inverted. Okay, and we have it here. Well, type this on 0.2. Okay, so now this way, every time the lead is playing, the reverb decreases a bit the volume, so it leaves some space to it and makes it sound more in your face and a bit cleaner. Let me check the image, the stereo imaging. Okay, I think I can make it a bit wider. Now check the baseline. I think it's okay, the baseline. What I'm gonna do is use gross beat on the baseline. I'm gonna use this one and not that much. Sorry for crashing. And do the same here in this reverb. I'll decrease a bit this. Let's take this out. So now let's check. I'm gonna add some more things to give more impact to the drop. I have one thing that I use sometimes, that is this clap kick. It's just a clap, okay, but really soft. And what it does is help a bit the kick on the highs. Okay, I'm gonna move all of this to the left so I have more mixer channels here. Now I'm gonna add another thing. This one, I like to use it a lot. In every 4 bars, I like to put this, especially in melodies like the one that is like the beginning is all the time the same in every bar, you know. Well, let me put it here. This is why. So this way, every bar has like a short impact, a low impact, you know, and it gives more energy in every bar. But I have to EQ a bit. I don't want that much mids. And this one is okay. And now some claps that I'm gonna use the Kashmir ones. I thought it was 4, but I'm gonna use this and I'm gonna EQ them. And now let's put it here and here. Let's take out this one. And I'm gonna link those two here. And what I like to do on these percussions that are on the drop is to put a volume shaper. This is a good trick. And what I'm gonna do is just take out the transient of them. Maybe not that much. And maybe on 70% or so. Because this way you're gonna give space to the attack of the kick, and that's what you want. Okay, I need more volume on them. So these rights need to be unique because they need to be louder. And I'm gonna click here on cut itself, so every time that a new sample of this is playing, the previous one is stop playing, so they don't start sounding all at the same time in somewhere around here. Okay, so let's see now how it sounds. It sounds a bit better. Okay, let's make this louder. Probably I have to balance a bit better the volumes here. Now what I'm gonna do is add some of these effects here. So probably I'm gonna add these two. Let's see. It's so low. Let's increase a bit the volume. But I want like this. And I need some drum fills effects here and there. So I'm gonna try to find some. I'm not sure where. Maybe here in effects tool. Maybe this can work. Let's see. You know, things like that. They're gonna help a lot to create movement on the drop and to have more things there. I'm gonna use this one maybe, but here, and of course I'm gonna make it louder. Something like this, but I don't like them, so I'm gonna change them. And this one is with too much mids, so it needs reverb. I want more reverb, so I'm gonna put it directly here. So let's try to find some drums. Maybe some fills, short fills, and some parts of them. Okay, so I've been looking a bit on my samples, and I finally found this sample here. It's cut from this, okay, and this one. So I'm gonna have this, and I'm gonna take out now, for example, this. You know, so it has more movement. And I'm gonna add this also in this second part of the drop. And now I need something for the middle, and I think I like to use the sub drops. I'm gonna make this a bit shorter so it just fits one bar. And no, I'm not gonna use this, but what I'm gonna use is try to find a short sweep. Just one noise. This one. Of course, I'm gonna reduce the volume. I'm gonna put it here. And I'm gonna reduce a bit of the mids because on these noise effects, I don't really like a lot of mids on them. Okay, pretty cool. Here I'm gonna take out the sidechain of the leads. So, well, I need to put the leads on the build up, so I'm gonna give some space to it. And I'm gonna put the leads here. So I'm gonna enable the filter, sorry. Okay, create automation, and I'm gonna create also an automation for the kickstart because I just want it on the drop, not here. Well, let's do it like this. And here, let's take it out until it starts, until here, okay? And now about the filter, I'm gonna do it this way. Well, no, I'm gonna do it this way. And here I'm gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna do the same on the plug. And I'm gonna do the same on the pads, on the strings and so on. So it can create more tension with it. And here what I like to do is to reduce a bit the volume of the dry signal of the leads. So I'm gonna put it here, maybe 3 dBs less. Okay, and put it back just before the drop, like this. And increase a bit the volume of the reverb, so it's more in the background. Well, also they are a bit loud. And I heard that this fill has this a bit of rising effect. So what I decided to do is do that rising effect with the leads. So what I'm gonna do is go here, for example, just take the first note of it, enable this. So maybe better just take out the kickstart here. And what I'm gonna do on the master, I'm gonna put the reverb of the leads, but I'm gonna increase the decay a lot, like this. I'm gonna increase the attack so it's softer. Okay, and now I'm gonna record this on Edison. I'm gonna put it on play. I'm gonna delete this, record and play. Okay, it's enough. And now Alt left to reverse it, and I'm gonna put it here. I can delete this and I can enable again the kickstart. I'm gonna rename this as leads reverse. And well, the thing was that I use it just one note, the first note. Okay, so what I like to do is first see where it starts, because of course it has a delay when it starts recording. And then now the note is until here. So here is where this part is where the dry signal is. So I can take this out, and now maybe a bit of transient like this. Cut this, reduce a bit the in. Okay, so let's listen now. No, I prefer it here, and reduce the volume. And And I need more impact on the drop, so I'm gonna add more downlifters. I'm gonna use mine probably. I'm gonna use this one. And I'm gonna EQ it, of course. Why does this create this weird sound? I don't know why, but it doesn't fit well with the others, so I'm gonna just search for another one. Maybe they share some frequencies or something and it's not working well. Some exhaust. Yeah, this one. And I like to put here a crash again. And I'm gonna use this reverse crash here. And now I'm gonna try to cover a bit more the frequency spectrum with some white noise and with some crowd effects. All right, I'm gonna put it here and take this first one out. All right, now I'm gonna move it here, EQ a bit, and of course reduce the volume. And now I'm gonna add the sidechain of the chords. And I also like to add crowd effects, so I'm just gonna search for crowd. I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna take out the beginning, so it starts with a drop, but of course I need to put this on generic so it doesn't create any click. I'm gonna put this here. I'm also gonna use the kickstart, but not that much. Maybe this one on 80%. Reduce the volume, EQ a bit. So with these two, we're gonna cover a lot of space and make the drop sound a lot fuller. And I'm gonna add it again here and maybe a bit out. So let's check now. I'm gonna add some toms here, and for the toms I'm gonna probably use the ones by Revealed. I need toms in F. Maybe it's too strong, but if I lower it down and I take out the normal rhythm, classic rhythm for this. Okay, but this time is pretty bad. I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna take out a bit of the highs. I'm gonna put some kickstart, because this way I make sure that it never touches the kick. And now I'm gonna work on the most important thing to have a good sub bass, and is the work of the kick with the sub bass. This is super important, because the kick and the sub bass don't have to touch. Okay, if I increase this, probably here they are touching, and you don't want that. So how to make sure that they are not touching? What I do is go to the kick, I open volume shaper, okay? So I see the kick. I know the kick stops here, and what I'm gonna do is make it fade away a bit smoother to this part, so something like this maybe, and make it go back a bit before of the beginning. And now I'm gonna move this volume shaper to the sub bass, and here in the sub bass, apart from the kickstart that is adding like previous rhythm, here I'm gonna click right click and mirror on X axis, so it does the opposite. So now they are not touching. If I put a filter, can you hear? They are never touching. Maybe this is too much, so sometimes I like to maybe make this a bit softer, so you know, they are touching just a little bit, but it makes it sound a bit better. And now I add this also to the bassline. Not completely on the bassline, because I don't want the bassline to sound like this, because maybe it's too aggressive. Not that much, but what I'm gonna do, and that's why volume shaper is so cool, is that you have here bands. And I'm gonna move this until 125, for example. I'm gonna right click, copy, and paste it here. And that is the high band in this case, or the mids, or the rest. I'm gonna make it less heavy. And I'm gonna add the same one on the chords. So I also need it on the chords reverb. So now I make sure that the little bit that the sub bass of this bass line, a little bit of the sub bass of these chords, and the sub bass in general are gonna be working well with the kick. And I'm gonna add the gross beat here too on the chords, but a bit less. And I'm gonna make this a bit less on this one, probably like this. Maybe you can hear too much now the sidechain, but with all of these sounds, you're not gonna hear it. Not that much, alright? And here what I'm gonna do is change a bit this, and this last note I'm gonna make it longer, and I'm gonna add a tape stop effect, and I'm gonna add Effectrix to work on this, like this, but not that strong, okay? And I just want it to be enabled here. So well, so we need to hurry. I'm gonna just keep forward because, of course, I would keep working more on the sound and how it sounds, and I think maybe more effects or making more interesting. But I want to finish the song. So what I'm gonna do super quick is go to the second breakdown, and an easy way to do it, just Control A, select everything, and just putting it here. This is something that a lot of people do, but in my opinion, it's not that good. I want to add some variation, so it's what I'm gonna do now. But I have something at least for now, okay? Here I also wanted to don't have say chain. And what I'm gonna do is add, for example, this sub drop here, not here, this here. Okay, now maybe we don't need this. And maybe make it without this. All right, so it sounds a bit different. Now we don't need this. So I want it to come back. I also want the kick to come back, so the string there's things are not sounding is because of this. We could maybe add some variation with some drums, some acoustic drums. No, not this kind of drums. This one, orchestral drums. I'm gonna do it this way. I want it here. I'm gonna add this one here, and I'm gonna take out some of the low end because it's pretty heavy. I'm also gonna reduce the volume. We already have this sub bass and this kick, so and I want this reverb to be here. I'm pretty back in the mix. And I'm gonna add another one to add more body to it. So orchestral high, mid. And to make it a bit different also, here what I'm gonna do is take out the strings, and I'm gonna start duplicating this here. And here what I'm gonna do is just repeat the beginning. And also on the leads. And well, of course, the pads need to be like this. And here what I'm gonna do is make this unique. So I'm gonna change it a lot. I'm just gonna take this out. So let's move it here. Okay, and here on the second drop, I'm gonna add a drop hover. Let me try it. No, I don't like it. So what I'm gonna do maybe is just create myself one. I'm gonna call this as hover. And I'm gonna make it super fast with serum. What I'm gonna do is put F here and here, like 4 bars. Well, better 8 bars. I'm just gonna create a normal super saw with silence. So let's go here, insert, 8 voices, lot of detunement, mono legato. Something like this. And what if it's lower? Okay, so put it somewhere like here. I'm gonna add this reverb. I'm gonna add sidechain 85. Okay, and I want it to end before, so I want it to end here. Okay, and then pretty balance to make it fade out. And then here in the second part of the drop, I'm gonna add the riser. And then we just need the intro and the outro. So as you can see, I changed a bit the second breakdown. Probably I would change it more and maybe add some guitars or something different. Maybe make it a bit longer, a bit shorter, whatever. But I don't have that much time. So what I'm gonna do now is create the intro and the outro. And what I'm gonna do is go here, and here I'm just gonna first copy this, just the drop drums like this, and then copy again here. Okay, take this out from here first, like this. And I'm gonna add some of the, I'm gonna add those effects. I'm gonna add the impacts. This one needs some reverb. This one too. Then I'm gonna add the risers here. And then here, what I'm gonna do, what I like to do is first put the bass line, okay? Don't put the sub bass here. So in the bass line, what I'm gonna do is create, put a filter like this. Put this too. Okay, also the kick in the first part needs to be with a low cut, so we don't have the bass of it. Like this is okay. So I'm gonna just enable it here. All right, I'm gonna put also this here. So I'm also gonna put the chords in this part. And the chords are gonna be also here with the same filter. So what I'm gonna do is just put the filter, move this, and link it to this one that is this. Maybe it could work to add a vocal. Okay, I'm gonna take this one, but I'm gonna make it unique. I'm gonna reverse it. I'm gonna take out this of the crossfade. And what I'm gonna do is put it here. Make it so short, like this. And put it in another channel. I'm gonna just put the same thing here, save it, and put it here. And now I'm gonna put the gross beat, the same as in the baseline, alright? And some kickstart. So let's put it. I'm using Control B to do this. Okay, and now I'm just gonna copy it. So I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna put it here. And the thing is, we need to do the opposite. So this needs to be in this part, this and this needs to be in this part. This filter I have to make the opposite, and what I'm gonna do is make it filter but softer. The bass needs to be here, and the riser as well. I can add them. No, better like this. Right, so we have one intro and outro, and well, basically this would be a song, you know. This would be a progressive house song. Of course, as I said, it needs a lot more work. I'm not 100% happy with the drop. I think I can make it sound better. The breakdown probably would need some more work, and this one too. The intro and the outro, but I think is pretty decent for the time I spent on it. So what I'm gonna do now is export it and open a new project to master the song, alright? Because now what we need is the mastering. I was going to forget something that helped me the most to get a better quality on my songs, and it's by using reference stems. So here I have the leads of the song For You by Second Torres. And what I like to do is to put on the master the Ozone 6 equalizer. You can use the 7 equalizer, 8 equalizer, it doesn't matter, okay? So what I do is I go to the matching thing, and on the reference audio I click on capture and I play. As you can see, it gets the average value of the frequencies of this sound, okay? So now I'm gonna do the same. So now only with my leads I do the same. I click on capture and I play. Right, so it's doing the same. It's getting the average value of my leads. Okay, I'm gonna play the same until here. So now what I can do, of course, the other one is louder, but it doesn't matter. Ozone 6, it doesn't care about the volume. Now I click on this button here, and what it's gonna do is apply an EQ to match the frequencies. So I put this on 70% and this on 30, so I can easily see what I need on my leads. So what I'm gonna do is play it and bypass and unbypass, okay, with this enabled, so it keeps the same volume, and see if I like this new this EQ or if I don't like it. So this was before. So I kind of like it, but not that much. So what I'm gonna do is now open this EQ, for example. I never use this in one single mixed channel because it takes a lot of CPU and adds a lot of latency and so. So what I'm gonna do is around 6K more or less, I have to decrease. So around here, I have to decrease a bit. See, if this is 2, so this is reducing like 1.5 and so. I'm just gonna reduce 1. And then it increases a little bit here on the 15K. So let me do the same, just with the bell around here, like this. Not that much, maybe 1 dB too. So I'm gonna select those two, disable. I like it, but not that much. Maybe 0.5, and here just 0.3, just a little bit. Sounds a bit cleaner. So what I will do now is do exactly the same, but for the chords, for the bass line, for the sub, for, you know, so I know what I need on my leads, I know what I need on my chords or on my bass line, and this way I try to cue it to make it sound better and know what I did wrong. So for example, this one doesn't have chords, the second chorus one, but it has a bass line. So I'm just gonna load this bass line and I'm gonna do the same as I did before. Okay, so I'm gonna click on clear and disable this. So capture the bass. It doesn't have the sub bass because otherwise it would have something more around here. Okay, it's enough. So now I'm just gonna play my bass line. Okay, so now let's click on match, and I see I need a lot more highs, a bit less here, you know. So just try. I like it, so I'm gonna recreate this EQ here on the FAF filter. So it's just reducing around 1500 around here, just a little bit, increasing, well, basically in 3K, and a lot here. And maybe increase a little bit here. So compare before and after. Yeah, sounds more a bit brighter and a bit cleaner. But of course, you need to test this with your song. To test, I'm not gonna enable the leads because otherwise I'm probably not gonna really hear the difference. So just with the chord and so, and without DQ, and with DQ. Maybe a bit more. I can feel a bit of brightness in the bass line, so it's good. And I would do the same with the chords if you find the stems of another song that has chords and so on. And for sure, this was the thing that helped me the most to make good quality music. And I do it in all my songs. Some people do it with the entire song of just put here a song of other artists, and that is good. And I do that too. But the thing is that maybe if you hear some highs, you don't know if the highs are from the chords, are from the leads, if they have white noise like this or effects like this. So this way, by stems, is easier for us. So well, with that explained, I'm just gonna show you how I export the song. And the way I export the song is not really difficult or different. It's just normal, file, export. I click on wave in here, and I'm just gonna call it like this, progressive house course on wave always, because this way you have more quality. And I'm gonna change this to leave reminder so it doesn't cut when everything ends. If it has a reverb, it's gonna keep the reverb or something like this. And just these settings I have, I put this to the max for quality, wave 32-bit. Some people put it on 24. I think it doesn't really matter. And just that, click on start. Okay, so I opened a new project, and here I have our song. As you can see, it doesn't have too many peaks. That's why that's because I limited everything, And here, as you can see, I have another song by Manse or Mans, I don't know how it's pronounced, Summer AD. The first thing I'm gonna do, well, I already did, is to put the drop at the same spot. So the drop of this song starts right here, and as you can see, these are the kicks. So it goes together with my song. Okay, I decided to use this one because it sounds more or less similar to mine. And what I'm gonna do is put my song here. I'm gonna take out the free delimiter, and I'm gonna put this one here. What I'm gonna do, of course, is lower the volume, because what I wanna do now is try to match the same volume, try to match the EQ, how it sounds, the stereo, and everything. I'm gonna use this song as reference. You can do this also when you're mixing, and I recommend you to do it, but also do the thing I showed you just before. So I'm gonna open here the SM Exoscope, and this way it's gonna help me to match the volume, because I'm just gonna play my song. And I see more or less the kicks are here, so I want the Mansi song also to be there. Well, this one is louder, so what's another thing I'm gonna do that it can help is using visible limiter and this thing. This is a dynamic range meter, and this is just a limiter. So what I'm gonna do is limit my song as much as possible, but keeping the volume. So I'm gonna click here. This is too much. So now I'm gonna look here on the dynamic range of Manse's song. Around 5, more or less. So I'm gonna put the limiter also of my song to more or less 5 of dynamic range. So a bit less. More or less here. So my song is here, and Manse's song is here. Well, I need my song to be louder or this one to be quieter. I forgot to check this with the limiter enabled, so that's what I did now. Okay, so more or less here is okay. What I'm gonna do is just put this down. And the first thing I always do when I'm gonna master a song is work on the build-up. Because I like to work on the build-up, on the mastering, because this way I save a lot of CPU for the mixing, because if I apply all the things I'm gonna apply now on the mixdown process, my computer is gonna crash. So the first thing I do always is add to Endless Smile. Endless Smile, if you don't know this plugin, is by Data Live. And this plugin, what it does is apply reverb or delay, and it also applies a filter, and I'm not sure about this, it reduces a bit the volume. So just making it so obvious. Okay, so I like to use two. The first one is gonna be for delay, so it's the second preset. And I'm gonna move this, right click here, create automation. And then this one is gonna be for reverb, that is the first one, and the same. Move it, right click, create automation. So now I'm just gonna increase a little bit on the build-up. So this way, what I'm gonna do is, as the build-up goes up, I'm gonna add more reverb and I'm gonna make it sound fuller and bigger. Okay, so maybe just type 0.2, and on this one type 0.3 maybe, and make it more like this. Some people just start right here, but I prefer to make it smoother like this way. And you hear this is the reverb that I added, so without these effects and with it. We can add a bit more. I think I'm gonna add more delay, something like this, and I'm gonna make it more like this probably. So here we don't have it. So we can hear some reverb, but this from the leads and so on. Now, what I like to do is use an EQ, and I'm gonna use this one. What I like to do in this way, in this part, is disable and just enable the EQ in the build-up. And I use a Fab Filter Pro Q2 because when you do this with a parametric EQ and you enable, it creates like a click. So I don't want it, and I use the Fab Filter because it doesn't create that click. What I'm gonna do is start reducing the low end. I'm gonna apply a low cut and reduce a little bit of the highs. Okay, because this way what you're gonna get is, at this point more or less, you're not gonna have any low end and you're gonna have a bit less of highs. So then when the drop comes, you get back all the low end and all the highs, and you bring back all the energy. Okay, just make it so quick, to 0, right click, create automation. And on the highs, the way I like to do it is with a high cut like this more or less, and just reduce the Q, so we create like a low shelf. Okay, so just automate this, and I'm gonna detach it so we don't lose it and we see everything. And let's see, this is too low, maybe on 125. Right click and copy and paste it here, and I'm gonna make it like this probably. Let me check. As I said, the Endless Smile already applies a filter, but I like to do it also my way to make sure I don't have any low end. And look here, right on this part. Can you see this thing that appears? This is like a click. So to avoid this, what you have to do is move this a bit to the left and then do it this way, or even make it softer like this, and probably it's gonna help. Yeah, it's a bit lower now. It was more around here. And now on the highs, let me decrease a little bit, like 0.35. And I also wanted this to be smooth, so more like this. I'm just gonna do it this way. Another thing that I always do on the build-up is to use the S1 by Waves and make a bit more narrow the build-up. So move it like this, put it back on 1, and now create automation. As I said, what I want to do is make it a bit more narrow, because this way when the drop comes it's the same thing. You have more narrow track here, but then when the drop comes you bring back all the stereo of the song, so the impact is lot bigger. I'm gonna put it until 0.75, copy this value and paste it here, and this time I'm just gonna bring it back when the drop comes, not before. If I make it super obvious, it would be something like this. Okay, but we don't want it to make it that obvious, but maybe on 70, a bit more. So, and the last thing would be the volume automation. Do the same but with the volume. So what we're gonna do is reduce the volume, maybe 2 dB, something like this. As you can see, it's the drop is already louder than the build-up. But I listen a lot of songs from people that send me for feedback that the build-up is even louder than the drop, and we don't want that. So maybe reduce 2 dBs, copy this, paste it here and here, and then just when the drop comes, bring back the volume. So again, if I make it super obvious, would be something like this. Okay, but we don't want it that strong. Alright, so we can hear now pretty obvious the difference. So without all of these effects, and with effects. So what we're doing is just in the build-up, we are pushing the song to the back, okay, back on the mix with the delay and reverb. We are taking out some of the low end and some of the high end, you know, to make it sound a bit thinner, we could say, or more in the background too, because with less highs it sounds more in the background. And then when the drop comes, you bring back all of that. Also, we are making it more narrow and we're reducing the volume. So then when the drop comes, you have all of that things back. You have the song more in your face because you don't have the delay and the reverb. You feel more the bass and the highs because you didn't have them before, and you bring back the stereo width and the volume, so the impact of the drop is a lot bigger. In this case, as I said, it's not that obvious, especially because I have here the pre-drop where I took out some of the effects, but sometimes when you have a build-up that just stops here, then here you have a brighter snare and then the drop. If you apply this, the difference is going to be super obvious and super powerful. So now I just copy this to the second build-up. So this is basically what I do when I start mastering. But as I said, you can do this in the mixdown, you know, but applying all of these effects in the mixdown can take a lot of CPU. So now is when the mastering actually starts. And I like to start with an EQ, where I make a low cut, I make a high cut, maybe I reduce or I boost if it's needed, and I try to find some resonance, okay? So let me show it to you, and wow, the best thing you can do is put it on the drop. Okay, so just reduce a bit here. And I don't like on the low end to make it that steep. I prefer to do it on 24 or 30. And as our song is on F, if you don't see this keyboard here, just click this button. We can reduce until F, because F is the root key, you know. But what I like to think is about the notes that they use it on the low end, on the sub. Sometimes if F is here but you use it lower notes, you're gonna have some power here too, you know, you're gonna have some notes that are here. So that's what I like to think. And the lowest note of our bass line was A sharp. So I could try to go until A sharp, that is 30 hertz, and 30 hertz is not that much, you know, so it's pretty good. There's people that cuts until 40, but maybe this is too much. And then on the high end, I like to make it more steep, and 20 kilohertz is okay. Or sometimes you can try to go a bit lower, like 19, 18, but this is okay. And now what I try to do is try to listen to the song, and well, I listen to the song and try to find something that is missing or something that I don't like how it sounds. But in this case, you only have to apply EQs like 1 dB, you know, half dB, but not things like that. Because if you have to do an EQ like this, probably it's because your mixdown is not good, okay? And the mastering is gonna help to solve some of the small problems on the mixdown, but it's not gonna change everything, okay? If the mixdown sound bad, the mastering is gonna sound bad. So just listen to it. I think this makes it a bit more present. And well, I would increase a bit the volume of the leads and so on, or probably I would reduce a bit the volume of the kick. But for now, just leave it like that, you know, to don't come back to the mix down. Just more like this. Now I'm gonna try to find some resonance. I create a bell. I make it so the Q to the max, so not so narrow, and try to find some resonance. They are not really resonant, so just maybe reduce those two and nothing else. Now, what I like to do is to do the same I showed you before with the Ozone 6 equalizer. So that's why I have this reference song here. And the thing here is that if I open now the equalizer and I play this one, as you can see here, there's a cut. And if I play my song, it is not there. This is because MP3. So what I like to do before of matching the EQs is put another equalizer, and I create a low pass, brick wall low pass around this way, around 10K. So this way both songs have this low cut. Okay, so it's not gonna apply a lot of difference here on the high end, because otherwise if you don't have this low cut on your song, when it matches the EQ, it's gonna have something like this to match the EQ, alright? Because there's basically nothing in the reference song in that part. So just capture. And now capture our song. It's enough. Let's try to match it. Put it on 70 as I showed you before, so it's a bit smoother, and on 30% just to see it. So with the high cut, it has this dip here. So imagine without this high cut, it would be even bigger, and you don't want that. So what I like to do now is just put it maybe in 20 or on 10%. Maybe I'm gonna put it on 50. And see how it sounds. Of course, here is reducing a lot because our song has lower frequencies, but not because we have more sub and we need to cut it, because of our key, because our key is lower, and this way our kick sits more back, more in the lows than the reference song. So let's listen to it. I like it, but not a lot, so maybe just 10%. And now what I do is move this one, click on save preset, and I move it here. Now what I like to do, sometimes I put another equalizer or put Ozone 8. On Ozone 8 what I do is take out these three things here, and I go, first I click on game match, and I go to a reference section. So here I add the songs, and in this case I'm gonna add this one. Now we have it, and what I do is click on one band, make zoom, and try to put it on the beginning of the drop. If we click here, it's gonna listen this one. So now I come here on Master Assistant, I click, I put on reference, I select the song, in this case this one, so next, and I play my song. So now what it's doing is analyzing the audio, the song you have as reference and your song, and it's gonna apply an EQ, a dynamic EQ, and a maximizer. I always take out the maximizer, and I'm gonna explain you later why, but let's see what it does. Okay, so as I said, I always take out the maximizer because I don't like this one and I think it's distorting a lot. So as you can see, dynamic is not used. So what I like to do is disable this one first and click on gain match and bypass and unbypass. As the gain match is the same, you're just gonna hear the difference in the EQ and not difference in volumes, because if you don't have it, if we boost it more than reduce it, you're gonna hear that difference in volume, and probably you're gonna think that it sounds better because it sounds louder, and that's not the thing we want. I don't really like it, so maybe what I'm gonna do is take this one out reduce a bit less on this one, and a lot less on this one. Okay, and then with the dynamic EQ, what I like to do is just check what it's doing. And to check this, what I do is I go to the master, I load an EQ, and for example this one, and I create some bandpass, a low cut and high cut. In the points, it is these bands, all right? So this one is on 300 hertz basically. So I'm gonna listen to it, and I'm gonna disable. So this way I'm gonna be able to check what it's doing. It's pretty difficult to see difference in the dynamic EQ, but basically what it's doing, for example, in this one, is reducing a bit every time the kick hits. So this way, it helps later for the limiting, because this way, as we are reducing a bit the kick, we don't have that much peaks and we can compress a bit more. And with the other things, it's the same. For now, for this tutorial, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Sometimes what I do is I reduce a bit, so it doesn't reduce that much. And now what I do in Ozone is click here and load an imager, and I also load an imager on the master. So what I do first is go here, click on learn, and play your song. So what it does is detect the bands of your song. So we have the lows, the mids, the mid highs, and the highs. So I'm gonna put the same ones here, 199, more or less. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. 624 and 11.3. So now what I do is solo those bands, and I'm gonna compare the reference song to my song. I just right click to mute to solo this, and then I right click and left click super fast, so I listen to my song. And if I have 2, 3, 4, 5 reference songs, I compare with all of them, and I see how my song sounds in the stereo. So let's check first the low end. As you can see, our song goes a lot wider, and we don't want that, so I'm gonna reduce a bit, but not here, sorry. I need to reduce here. It is 100% mono, but as we can see here, it is not brick wall bands, So probably as we can, the stereo thing we can see is from the leads, because I can hear them, and it's because of this part. So there's not a big problem. Maybe reduce a bit less, or what we can do is move this a bit more to the low end. Okay, basically it's okay. Now check this one. And I like to use this view because this way I can see also how wide it is, apart from this vector scope. In my opinion, it's a bit too wide, but our song is too mono, so I'm gonna make it wider. It's good to do this in the mixing, because this way maybe what I need to do is just increase the width of the leads, or just increase the width of the bass line, or things like that, and not the entire song, because maybe what I'm doing now is increase the width of everything, and maybe the chords are already too wide, and now I'm making the chords to be on the red. They start to sound bad, they start to have phase problems and things like that. But for now it's okay. Let's check the mid highs. And finally the high end. Yeah, it has those peaks because of the kick, and because our kit has more like a wood attack, and this one it's more like the base of the kick only, so it doesn't have that much on the mid highs. And also, well, our kick, as I said before, is a bit too loud. But well, after that, what I do is I apply 2, not 1, but 2 limiters. But first, what I do is load the Nugen, or however you want to call it, the send and the master check. Okay, the send I put it before the first EQ, and the master check after. So what you have to do is click on the send here, and in this one, click all of these ones. Okay, what this plugin is gonna do is, when I have this enabled like this, it's gonna bypass all of these plugins. So the audio is gonna go from here to here without going here. So we're gonna see what we did. So we're gonna bypass all the plugins that we use, all the EQs and so on, and then we're gonna unbypass all of them. So we're gonna enable them, and we're gonna see the difference. To be able to do it matching the volume, you have to click here. Okay, so this was before, and this is after. Maybe make it in mono now, because as we're making the sound wider, maybe we think it's better or something like this. Yeah, this one is not good, so better like this. And now compare the width, maybe it's too wide. Yeah, a bit too much, so I'm gonna reduce a bit. As I said, this is better to do it in the mix down, the width thing. Maybe like this, and this a bit more. It's okay, now I delete them. And I'm gonna load, as I said, 2 limiters, the L2 and the invisible limiter. Why I want 2 limiters? Because with the first one, the L2, what I'm gonna do is try to cut the peaks. And then with the invisible limiter, I'm gonna boost it, because invisible limiter is a really good limiter. It doesn't apply a lot of distortion. And now I'm gonna reduce here the volume, alright, so it doesn't kill your ears when I'm boosting the gain. And on the style, I like to put it transparent. So increase it. And I like to have 2, maybe max 3 dBs of reduction here, maybe a bit less, like 10.5. Maybe 10. Okay, just that, nothing else. And now I go here and I boost the rest. How much do you have to boost? That's why we have this meter here. We want to have a value around 4, more or less. Okay, a generic value of dynamic range on EDM music would be 4. On progressive house, sometimes we have a bigger dynamic range, so we go to around 5. On big room or something like this, maybe we are between 3 and 4, but that's super compressed. And well, there are songs that even go to 2. And the dynamic range, if you don't know what it is the difference between the loud and the quiet parts. So if we look just here, this is the loud peak and this is the lower peak. So this difference would be the dynamic range. So just start boosting until we see a good dynamic range. And the way I like to do this is by clicking here first and increase. So it's gonna match, it's gonna keep the volume. And I do it with my eyes closed, because this way what I try to find is the spot where it starts distorting. And with the start distorting, I come back until I don't hear distortion. I forgot also to put here on oversampling to 8, because this way it's a bit better, the quality. And that's what I'm gonna do. So here is distorting, so I want to come back a bit. Okay, I think here I don't hear distortion, but I don't trust myself always, all the time. So now what I do is I check the dynamic range. I heard distortion, there is a bit more. And as you can see, we have a value of around 4, 3.8, you know. And as I said, progressive house, we have a bigger dynamic range and we can go until 5. What I'm gonna do to be secure and to know 100% that I'm not distorting is reduce this a bit more. So I'm gonna put it on 4.5. Or even less. You know, so we still have a commercial dynamic range. I'm gonna put it on 4.3. So I make sure that at this part we are not distorting, you know. And then, of course, I have to disable this, and I put the oversampling on 16. Probably now it's gonna sound a lot louder. Now we can boost this again to 0 and check with the volumes, alright, both songs. As you can hear, our song has a lot louder kick. As I said before, we should decrease it a bit. And this way also everything would be a bit tighter, a bit more glued, and everything would sound a bit louder. Because imagine our song, all right, play it now. I'm gonna take out the limiter so I can explain you this. Okay, imagine that this is the top of the kick, okay, the peak of the kick, but maybe the peak of the leads is around here. So what happens is when we are limiting, we are limiting this first. So it gets to this point, and maybe here is distorting. So you have to reduce a bit, and you have it like this, the limiter. All right. So we are not touching the leads, or not that much. But if we reduce the volume of the kick to a better volume, we are gonna the kick is gonna be closer to the leads. So then we're gonna be able to limit a bit more. So the leads are gonna stand out more. Okay. So that's super important, and that's why I told you to also have reference songs in the mixdown, because you're gonna realize about these problems in the mixdown and not in the mastering process. So well, this was everything. This is how I master the songs. This is how I mix the songs. And well, now I'm just gonna play it to you from the beginning to the end, and let's see the end result. So well, this was everything. This was the course about how to make progressive house. Hope you learned a lot. I didn't spend all the time I wanted to, and that's why in the mastering I told you some problems like the kick is too loud, like maybe the lead should be louder. Maybe I could try to make it sound fuller or cleaner. Also, I heard that in some parts the filter starts a bit too late, so we can hear that it's filtering super fast, and of course this is not something that I would like on my songs. And as I said, also in the second breakdown I would try to add more variation and not just what I did. Probably I would make the first break a bit longer, or the second one, it depends. And well, the thing is that I didn't want to make it this too long. For me it's too long already. I hope you learn a lot. I try to explain everything as easy as possible and as good as possible. I explain it everything, and this is what I do when I make music. I didn't skip any part of the music production. And as I said in the beginning, if you have more questions, if you want to learn something else, you can go to my YouTube channel where I show you new tips, new tricks. I show you how to do things every single week. And you also can ask me something on my mail or on my Instagram. You can also send me your music if you want feedback on my mail. So my YouTube is just Wildcrow, my Instagram is just Wildcrow Music, and in both sides you have my mail. So well, thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you learn a lot. This was kind of honor to me and kind of challenge to me to make this song in such a short time. The end result is kind of good. As I said, it needs a lot more work. So well, nothing else. Thank you for watching, and let's start making music.